So we started working together one-on-one in early May. And I kid you not, within 2 weeks of launching her business, 2 people have signed with her and 3 more have scheduled calls for the coming week or two to figure out if they want to work with her. And the clients that she's landing are not offering her small projects. One of the clients that signed with her is paying her over $1,000 a month for coaching, and the other is paying her $2,000 a month for coaching.
Welcome to Leaving Academia, Becoming a Freelance Editor, the podcast. I'm your host, Paulina. In 2019, I was a political science professor who was fed up with the stress and hostility of academia, not to mention the low pay. I left my tenure-track job and went from barely surviving to thriving as a freelance academic editor. Today, I own Acadia Editing Services, an editing and coaching business that brings in 6 figures a year. In this podcast, I'll discuss the challenges of academia, what academic editing involves, and what life as a freelancer looks like. If you're willing to jump outside your comfort zone, it is possible to find joy, true flexibility, and a profitable and rewarding career as an academic editor. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to Leaving Academia, Becoming a Freelance Editor. I'm your host, Paulina. And today I'm going to talk to you about something that I haven't discussed much on this podcast, but it's something that I've been spending a lot of time on lately, and that is coaching clients one-on-one. I want to tell you about a client I started working with recently because her situation and what she's accomplished in just a few weeks has completely blown me away. And I know it's going to resonate with many of you as well. This client is an academic who's had a very long and fulfilling career. She is wrapping up her academic role at her institution, and though she's not ready to quit, she's not ready to just end up on a beach somewhere. She is wanting to have a second act, to use all the expertise that she has built up over the last several decades in her academic career and use it in a new context and use it in a new way. And so she is at this really exciting point where she's ready to launch her coaching business. And when she came to me a couple of months ago and started working with me, she had not quite retired yet. She was just on the verge of retiring and making an international move. And she knew, though, that she wanted to start coaching. And it wasn't a year from now or even 6 months from now. It was right away, as soon as she was completing this process of retirement. And so we have worked together over the last couple of months since this spring to define her niche, to figure out her offers, to get everything planned and put in place. And she has had tremendous success very quickly in achieving her goals. And here's the thing that made her situation particularly interesting. Like many of you, she has a network of colleagues, and that network is a very valuable asset when you are starting a business. I know it can feel uncomfortable to think about reaching out to people that you worked with as an academic. Maybe they're co-authors or people that you know from your field, from conferences, or former department colleagues or former grad student colleagues. Whatever it is, it can feel weird to reach out to them and let them know that you're starting a business. But that strategy has worked phenomenally for this particular client. She had, as I said, a long career in academia. She's now retiring. And so she has an existing network of colleagues and former students and other people who already know her, who already trust her, who respect her work. And they are people who would likely hire her. Some have hired her, and I'm going to get to more of that in just a minute. They are people who have referred her to their grad students or to their colleagues. And because she has chosen this exact moment to pair her retirement and the celebrations surrounding that with the launching of her business, she has been able to essentially direct or funnel that network of people from her academic life and her institutional life into her business life. And people are happy. They are thrilled to work with her in this new capacity. They are thrilled to share her information with their colleagues, with their students. And so I think this has been a really key marker of this particular business launch is the ability to transfer that goodwill and that trust that you've built for years as an academic, as a professor, as a researcher, and transfer that trust as you retire into a business. And that has helped this particular client to be very successful very quickly. So let's dive in here. Okay. Here are a couple of things that were unique to this particular client's situation and why she decided to start working with me as a client one-on-one, as opposed to in my group program, becoming an academic editor or coach, BAE. First, this particular client didn't want to wait for the next cohort of my group program to start. I run BAE in next year in 2027. It's going to be 3 times a year. It's going to be January, May, and September is the when we'll start. So we have our next cohort coming up as of this recording is September of 2026. And this client reached out to me in early May. She did not want to wait until September. She wanted someone in her corner right now, this summer, as she's making this leap from her institutional role into retirement and this new coaching business that she's launched. She wanted help moving quickly and strategically and with her specific situation in mind. The second thing that is a little bit unique about her is that she didn't want to make progress on anybody else's timeline. She didn't want to follow a syllabus that is designed for a 12-week program and a group of 20 people. She knew that she wanted to take action now, and she wanted to move as quickly as possible. And so we started working together one-on-one in early May. And I kid you not, within 2 weeks of launching her business, so we spent the month of May defining her niche, deciding what her offers were going to be. She had some ideas early on about what kind of work she wanted to do, who she wanted to work with, but through our conversations, that shifted a little bit, and that's totally normal. You have to think through what this actually looks like in real life before you decide on a solid niche. And so we did that together through conversations over the course of May. She created her website. We went back and forth on some of the copy, and she launched her website in early June. And within 2 weeks of that announcement of her retirement, followed by her announcement of her business, she has already landed 2 private coaching clients. And she has 3 more clients in the pipeline. So as of this recording, 2 people have signed with her and 3 more have scheduled calls for the coming week or 2 to figure out if they want to work with her. And the clients that she's landing are not offering her small projects. These are higher ticket coaching clients because my client who's building this business has a lot of expertise, a very solid specialty in her area. And she is leveraging those years of academic expertise and that reputation she's built. She's now leveraging it for her coaching business. And so one of the clients that signed with her is paying her over $1,000 a month for coaching, and the other is paying her $2,000 a month for coaching. Now, these are shorter term contracts. They are starting each with either a 2 or 3 month commitment, but they have the possibility of continuing on. And so it's very likely that they will work with her and enjoy that process, and they will continue on for $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month to work with her and continue to grow and achieve their goals. But that alone, those 2 clients alone at those rates is over $8,000 in revenue that she has brought in within 2 weeks of her website going live. I want you to just sit with that for a minute because it's mind-blowing even to me. $8,000 in revenue committed in 2 weeks, right? And they're going to pay her by the month, so it's not all coming in at once. That's fine, but that's huge to go from business launch to converting those clients right away. That's huge, and she's done fantastic work, and I am so, so proud of her. But this, I want you to hear, folks, this is what's possible when you are prepared to put in the work and you have one-on-one support from a trusted coach. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. All right. Let me back up a little bit from that case study, from that example, because there's a good chance that you're listening to this and thinking, wait a minute, Paulina does one-on-one coaching? I had no idea. Yes, I do one-on-one coaching. In addition to my group program, BAE, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in a minute, I work with a small number of clients privately. They commit to work with me either for 6 months or for 12 months at a time. We do the longer term because it takes time to build and grow a business. It takes time to work out these questions and for you to figure out what it is that you want and what you want your business and your life to look like. And it takes time for us to strategize and to experiment and to test different messaging approaches and different marketing approaches. And even with this client who's had this tremendous success early on, we are still having conversations about what does the long term look like? What is the 3-month plan? What is the 6-month plan? What is the 12-month plan? And we know that she has been able to leverage that reputation from academia into this early success in her business, but we still need a longer term plan in place because at some point that network will run out and she's gonna have to bring in clients from other places. But that's normal, right? That's how these kinds of businesses work. And so when I work one-on-one with people, we look at your particular situation. Maybe you're like this client and you haven't launched your business yet and you need help getting started. Maybe you already have a business. I have other clients who already have been running businesses and they want help growing and scaling. And wherever you are, we look at your specific situation, your specific goals, and your timeline. And we work together in a very focused and very strategic way, just the two of us, to help you achieve those goals. And to do it in a way that's sustainable so that you don't burn out or get overwhelmed. We meet on Zoom twice a month. And I think this is key to people's success, is we have a one-on-one chat on a messaging app called Voxer. This is a free voice messaging app that lets us exchange messages every day if you want to, or a few times a week, whatever you need, and to keep the conversation going on a regular basis between those 2 Zoom sessions each month. So the reason I'm bringing this up now, this idea of one-on-one coaching, is partly because of the client that I just told you about. And, seeing her success made me realize that I should make it clearer that this is what my clients are accomplishing and that this is possible for you as well. But more importantly, I want this episode to help you figure out which path makes more sense for you, either the group program, BAE, or one-on-one coaching, because both of those are perfectly wonderful options that include a solid path to success. But whether or not one or the other is right for you is going to depend on your particular preferences and circumstances. And so that's what I'm going to dive into for the rest of the show. All right. So let me give you some context because I think it will help you understand why I'm drawing this distinction between the group program, BAE, and the one-on-one coaching partnerships. I have been becoming an academic editor or coach, BAE, for 2 years now. When this episode airs in July, we'll be celebrating our 2nd anniversary. We've just finished our 9th cohort, and we have over 120 people in our BAE community. Over this period, I have seen a lot of people in a lot of different life circumstances with a lot of different learning styles come through that program. And BAE works. It really works for the people who put in the effort, who trust the process, who do the things. I have watched people in that program go from being riddled with self-doubt, being terrified to take action, from saying, I have no idea how to do this or what I want to do, to being fully booked with clients within a few months of finishing their cohort. I have watched many people land their first clients during their 12-week cohort. And we've even had a BAE community member hit her first $10,000 month from editing and coaching in just over a year of starting her business. That is huge, okay? This community is incredible. The curriculum is solid. And there is something really powerful about going through this process alongside other academics who not only understand what you've been through and what you are going through in this transition into a business, but who are also kind and generous and supportive and non-judgmental and all the things that so many academics out in traditional institutions are not. But here's what I've also learned. Group programs aren't necessarily right for everyone. And that is not a flaw in the program or in the person. It just means that some people might need something a little bit different. And so let me walk you through what I have observed so that you understand what I'm talking about here. There are a few things that really differentiate the group program from the one-on-one coaching. And I'm hoping that by delineating these for you, they will help you be able to make a decision to figure out which is right for you. So the first thing that's different is the pace. Just like in a college classroom, and I'm sure most of you listening to this are teachers, educators of some kind, so you know how this happens. The students in a classroom or the members of a BAE cohort all move at a different speed. And I emphasize to everybody in my cohort that, you do not have to move as quickly as the person next to you. It's okay if you're still working full time and that you need to progress more slowly. Or maybe this transition is really overwhelming for you and you need to take your time. There's no correct pace at which you move as long as you are taking some kinds of steps forward every week or every month. But the instructor of any college classroom or any cohort, right, me in this case, has to design and has to lead each session for the group as a whole, right? We design the syllabus, we set up the schedule, we teach our sessions according to what works for most people in that group. And there are going to be people who are fine with that. There are ones who want to move faster, ones who want to move more slowly. But we have to set the pace according to what works for most people most of the time. And that is appropriate for a group program, for a group setting. That's how it works. But there are some people who want to move faster than the cohort allows. They are ready to go. They've thought it through. They know they're ready to start a business. They have a solid sense of what kind of business they want to start. And they are just waiting to find the right instructor or coach to help them take those first steps and to make it real. They also know that once they start working with someone, they want to take action quickly. They don't want to meet as a group once a week and move at somebody else's pace. They don't want to wait for other people to decide what their business niche will be. They don't want to wait for the week in the syllabus when we discuss the topics that they're primarily concerned about. And for this type of person, those weeks of waiting to get to the point in the syllabus that you care about, or to wait for other people in the cohort to get on board and to make progress, that can feel excruciating. And again, there's no right or wrong thing here. It's just some people want to move faster. They're action takers, they're eager, they just want to do the things and make progress, and they don't want to have to sit around and wait for other folks to catch up. With one-on-one coaching, we move at your pace. If you're ready to roll, we roll. We roll as fast as you want to go, while also making sure that all of the important steps and systems are in place so that you succeed. If you're feeling stuck on one particular aspect of your niche or a section of your website or a offer or a price or whatever it is, we focus on that. We talk about it and we work through it until you feel good about it. And this is exactly how my client, whose story I shared with you at the start of this episode, that's how she landed her first clients within 2 weeks of starting her business. We didn't wait for the next cohort to start in September, for BAE to come around in September. We figured out her niche. We developed her offer. We identified her first targets for her outreach, and we got her moving immediately because that's what she wanted to do. The second reason that someone might prefer one-on-one coaching to a group program is just life. As we all know, life is a roller coaster for all of us. Some of us have kids, or we're caregivers for family members, or maybe you're still in your full-time teaching job, or you're in the middle of a cross-country or an international move. Some of you have health issues or other challenges, right? We all have life, and life has a tendency to get in the way sometimes, especially when we least expect it. And so maybe you sign up for a group program, you have the best intentions, you plan to attend every call over the 12 weeks, you plan to do the work, and you are really committed to this transformation. And then something happens, whether it's a rough semester, you're required to teach an extra course that you weren't expecting, you have some kind of health crisis or family emergency, or you have a kid who just needs you more, right? As a mom, I get that. My kids go through phases where they're super independent and other times where they are stuck to me like glue. And we are not starting a business so that we're glued to the business, right? So that we're glued to our work all the time. We are starting a business to give us the freedom and the flexibility to accommodate our lives, to prioritize our lives. And so these things happen, right? Life happens. And when you're in a group program where the train keeps on chugging along for 12 weeks, no matter what, and of course, I try to make accommodations where I can, but again, I have to teach to the class. This is a scenario if you are somebody who has these challenges and life tends to life a bit harder for you, or maybe you're just in a weird phase where, like I said, you're moving across country or across the world or something. Maybe the group program just isn't right for you in your life right now. Maybe you need the flexibility of working one-on-one with a coach, because when I work one-on-one with people, we have more flexibility in what times of day we schedule your sessions. We have more flexibility in moving things around. If you need to take a little bit of time off, maybe there's a month that you need to hit pause and take care of your responsibilities, we can hit pause and we can come back next month, right? There's more flexibility and it's easier for me to accommodate you and everything that you need when your life starts lifing. And there's no reason for you to feel guilty about this. We are human and, this is what happens, right? And so in that one-on-one coaching relationship, we build our sessions and our strategies around your life. We move at a pace that is customized to you, not to the cohort syllabus, not to where everybody else is. And everything is designed specifically for you and the pace at which you want to move and your needs. The third thing I want to discuss is the group dynamic itself. For most people, when they sit in our group calls, the community energy is motivating. It is inspiring. You hear other people who are struggling with the same fears and the same doubts, the same self-doubt that you feel. And hearing that from other people, you feel less alone. You realize that all of that self-doubt that you've built up over the years isn't really coming from you. It's coming from academia and the way that academia has treated you for so long. Because you see that it's not just you, it's all of these other wonderful, intelligent, highly successful people who still experience that fear and still experience that self-doubt because they've just been beaten down for so long inside the system. And your cohort members cheer you on and you connect with them outside of our regular sessions. There are many BAE members who have regular Zoom calls with each other during and beyond their cohort. I heard from a couple folks the other day who they were in a cohort together over a year ago, and they have continued meeting weekly, just the two of them on Zoom, to be accountability partners and to share their struggles and to share their wins. And so this is very much a supportive and kind and inclusive community. And it is unlike anything that probably any of us have ever experienced in academia. And so that's a huge selling point for many people when they decide to join a cohort, is being part of a community like that. But for some people, being in group sessions can have almost the opposite effect. When you're already overwhelmed and you're already dealing with a lot, and adding the mental weight of processing other people's challenges on top of your own might make things harder and not easier. And so if that's you, that's not something to be ashamed of. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just means that you need a different kind of support, or that you just prefer to learn in a different way. And that's fine. If that's you, then one-on-one coaching might be a better option for you. And then finally, there's a very basic challenge, and that is time zones. This is very practical, right? Inside BAE, we have members who live from the Pacific coast of North America all the way to the UK and Europe. I live on Maine on Eastern time, and I purposefully schedule our sessions every week for times that work for everyone across those parts of the globe. But if you're in Australia, or if you're in parts of Asia, or you're anywhere that puts you significantly outside the North American time zones or European time zones, that live call schedule for a group program can be a very basic but very important barrier to your participation. Now, I do share the replays of each call with your cohort. So when we meet every week for 12 weeks, and for example, in the September cohort, we're going to be meeting on Fridays from 10 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern. In January, it should be the same. And sometimes I'll do it on Tuesdays from 11 to 12:30 Eastern, but you always kind of, on a weekday and in that kind of middle of the day range for Eastern time. I share the replays of each call with your cohort, and people do watch them, but it's not the same thing as being there live. And so I would never want someone to join BAE if they knew they wouldn't be able to make most of the live calls. So if you know that you live in one of these time zones that's just completely impractical for you to join us, I wouldn't want you to invest in a program where you can't be there live. But with one-on-one coaching, we are able to find times that work for your life and for your location. And so the client that I've been referring to, she is in this exact situation. She is completely across the globe from me, and we meet at a time that is the morning for her, and the morning for me and the early evening for her. And so it's able to work. Okay. Let me be clear here. I am not doing this episode to talk you out of BAE. I adore the people in that program. I adore the program itself. I am very proud of the content that I've created, the curriculum. I am very proud of the journey that people go on when they join this program and they participate in a cohort. And I have seen it work for people time and time again. But I do want you to understand that that is not the only option. If your goal, if your desire is to build an academic business, whether it's editing or coaching or however you want to describe it, if you want to serve people the way that you have in your traditional academic institution, but now in a way that gives you complete freedom and flexibility and potentially a higher income than what you've been making in academia, and BAE, for whatever reason, doesn't work for you, I just want you to know that that is not the only option. BAE, our group program, is a great fit if you want to build your business alongside a cohort of people who are going through the same thing at the same time. As I said, the peer relationships that form inside this program are real. People stay in touch with each other. They refer clients to each other. They cheer each other on long after the 12 weeks are over, because you remain a member of this community for the life of the program. So even though our 12-week cohort sessions end, you are still part of the Slack community. We still have Zoom calls for the whole BAE community so you can meet people across cohorts. We also have some follow-on programs. One is the implementation cohort, one is the academic entrepreneur studio that you can join after your cohort ends so that you continue to get that support from me and from the community. The program is also great if you benefit from a structured and curriculum-based environment that has a clear progression. And so inside BAE, we take you through the full framework. The 3 steps are dream, build, and grow. I'm going to be sharing more about that July 13th through 15th in my 3-day training. This is a free workshop that I do periodically throughout the year, where I walk you through that dream, build, grow framework, and I show you how to develop your niche, what real editing and coaching offers actually look like and how they're priced, and then how to actually land your first clients, the exact steps you can take to land your first clients. Again, that 3-day workshop is going to be July 13th through 15th from 11 to 12 every day Eastern time. There will be replays, but the magic is really happening in the room. It is a lot of fun to talk with you, for you to hear from me, for you to hear from other people who are going through this same thing, trying to decide whether or not they want to start a business. You can go to acadiaediting.com/live and register to get that Zoom link. Again, it is completely free for 3 days of this workshop. So that is what we expand on when you join the BAE program, is this exact framework. And we really walk you through from start to finish how to come up with an idea, how to figure out your niche, how to set up your website, and so on and so forth, all the way through to how do you actually serve clients. I do not teach you how to edit. I do not teach you how to coach. It really is focused on how do you run the business? How do you market yourself in a way that doesn't feel gross? And this program in particular, BAE, is right for you if you are at those beginning stages, if you've never had a business before. Or maybe some of you out there, and I know this is true, you've already been working as an editor and you have been stuck working for editing agencies or for academic presses or publishers who pay obscenely low rates, 1.5 cents a word, maybe 2 cents a word if you're lucky. That is obscenely low. No one should put up with that if you're a talented editor. And if you want to discover how to market yourself in a way that feels good to you and attract private clients, BAE can also be a solid program for you as well, because that's really what we're focused on, is niching down and how to market yourself and land those private clients that can pay you 7, 8, 9 cents a word or more for copy editing. And we get into all of that with the pricing for different services. BAE can also be right for you if, as I said, you find it helpful to hear other people's questions in a group call. Maybe you're a bit more timid. Maybe you're scared to ask questions. And I promise you, everybody goes through the same experience. After working with over 100 people, what I see again and again is everybody has the same fears. Everybody has the same self-doubt. Everybody has the same questions. And so you can show up and be part of that group and hear other people talk about their experiences and ask those questions and find out it's the exact same thing that you were worried about or that you were wondering about. And if you're genuinely open to being in community, even when it feels vulnerable, then BAE is definitely the right option for you. And so if any of that sounds like you, if it sounds like it's the right fit, then BAE is probably your place as opposed to the one-on-one coaching. Like I said, our September cohort is already starting to fill. We start September 11th, and we will meet on Fridays at 10 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time for 12 weeks. You can DM me, send me an email if you have questions about that. My email address is paulina@acadiaediting.com. Now, let me paint a picture of who tends to thrive in the one-on-one coaching setup. You want to move fast. You don't want to wait for the next cohort to start. You're ready to move now, to take action now. Whatever the reason is, whether you're retiring or leaving your position, or maybe you've already been running a business and you want support in growing sustainably, in one-on-one sessions, we don't wait, we go. If you have an existing academic network that you want to activate, this is key. As I explained with my client and her story earlier in the episode, she had relationships that she could turn into clients or into referrals. We didn't have to build from zero. We were able to leverage what she already had in a strategic and fast and delicate way that felt natural to her rather than transactional. And so if you're in a similar position, that's something that we could work together on in one-on-one coaching. If you're an action taker and you want to do things scared, and here I want to emphasize this very strongly, okay? I don't want you to hear this story of my client and think, oh, she wasn't scared. She has some kind of magic gene or superpower or whatever that has helped her be successful. She's lovely. She's brilliant. She's very hardworking. But I promise you that everyone, whether they come through BAE or they sign up with me to work one-on-one, everybody's terrified. Okay. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I don't know if I can do this, I'm really scared to put myself out there. Literally everyone who has come through any of my programs is terrified. These people who work with me one-on-one, anytime I share a testimonial, a success story, again, I love them to death, but they are not superhuman. They are just like you. They were scared, but they did the thing, okay? They trusted the process. They went step by step. They followed the roadmap. They did exactly what I told them to do. They took action despite being scared. And they had me in their corner this whole time, cheering them on. Someone who knows their specific situation and is helping them build their confidence in a way that it can be more challenging to do in a group setting, right? If you have fears and you need direct feedback to help you work through them, to help you shift your mindset, you may not get that in the group setting. So that's another reason why the one-on-one coaching might be helpful for you is if you're scared, but you still want to take action, you have me right there addressing your unique fears, your individual situation, pushing you on and giving you specific strategic steps to help you move forward. Another reason to do one-on-one is if you don't want to be in a group. That's completely valid. Some people just do their best work thinking alone, thinking with a coach, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then finally, of course, we have the time zone or other scheduling issues. Maybe you're in the US, maybe you're in the UK, but you have a busy schedule, you have other commitments, and you need that scheduling flexibility. We don't have to meet at the same time every couple weeks, every month. I send you a link and you get to schedule the times you want for that particular month. And that's it. And so one more thing, because I want to address a belief that I hear pretty often. You don't have to be at a certain stage of business to work with me one-on-one. I have another client who told me that she had waited a year to reach out to me because she felt like she wasn't ready yet, that her business wasn't at the level it needed to be to work with me. And so I just want to be very clear. It doesn't matter that you don't have any clients, or you don't have a website, or you don't have a LinkedIn following, or maybe you have all of those things and your business is successful and profitable and you've already landed many clients. It doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter what stage of business you're in. The point is, plenty of people come to one-on-one coaching at the very beginning of launching their business or when they're further along in their business. It really depends on what kind of support that you want as you move forward. So let me tell you about what working together looks like and how I've been able to make progress with these clients so effectively and how they've been able to be so successful with their hard work. So we work together one-on-one for either 6 months or 12 months. And the length depends on what's right for you in this moment and what you're trying to accomplish. Our work is strategic. It is tactical. If you are just starting out in your business, or if you've been running your business for a while but have been struggling to land clients, we're going to start by focusing on your niche, making sure that you have a clear niche, that it makes sense, that you're able to communicate to people very clearly within that niche, that you understand their struggles and their desired outcomes. Then we're going to put together your offer, or we're going to examine the offer that you already have. We're going to talk about your messaging and how you communicate in your content and in your emails. We're going to come up with an outreach strategy for you. This is essentially marketing, but I know that word strikes fear in many people's hearts. So we're going to call it outreach. And we're going to figure out what types of marketing work for you. Not everybody has to be on TikTok or post reels on Instagram or whatever. You don't even have to be on LinkedIn if you don't want to. We'll figure that out. We're going to settle on pricing that makes sense for you and for your clients, that feels fair for your clients, but also is exciting for you. We're going to go through how to run a discovery call and a sales call without feeling gross. And we're going to cover from soup to nuts, I think that's the right expression, the mechanics of building and running a sustainable business. Everything is on the table for discussion. And mainly we work together during 2 Zoom sessions each month, and we hammer out all the details in those sessions, answering whatever questions you have, figuring out how to move forward. Those are very much strategy calls. But a lot of our ongoing communication happens through that app that I mentioned called Voxer. It is basically a messaging app. So think text messages and recorded voice messages, but you exchange those asynchronously. So you can send me a message in the middle of the day, or if you're one of my clients who lives around the world, maybe it's the middle of the day for you and the middle of the night for me. And I pull it up the next morning, or when I'm sitting in the school pickup line or whatever. You send me that message when you have a potential client inquiry, or you're struggling to come up with an idea for a LinkedIn post, or something happens. Somebody says they're going to work with you and then they want to cancel and you don't know what to do. You send me that message on Voxer, either in text form or in a voice recording, and I'm able to reply and coach you through it right away. So you don't have to wait a week or 2 weeks or whatever until our next Zoom call. You have me essentially in your pocket, and I can reply with a 2-minute message or a 5-minute message or a 10-minute message if it's a detailed coaching question. And so you have me with you in all of these moments where you need support. And I think also it's important to point out that with one-on-one coaching, I am able to work with you so closely. I am fully in your business with you. I'm looking at your website copy. I'm looking at your individual LinkedIn posts. If you want me to read them and edit them before you post them, I'm there for it. Any emails that you want to send to potential clients, any coaching packages, any documents, any pricing questions. We work so closely together in one-on-one coaching that I am right there with you through all of it. And I am the only person other than you who knows your business that well. Okay. The only other person who knows your business as well as I do is you. We work together every day if you need it, right? Talking back and forth on Voxer. And because we work this closely together so consistently for this longer term phase of 6 or 12 months, I am able to give you the kind of support and feedback that I just cannot do when you are one of 15 or 20 people in a cohort. Even if you're in a smaller group coaching environment, maybe in some other program, the coach cannot learn about you and your business in the level of detail as we are able to do with a one-on-one coaching relationship. So I know your messaging strategy. I know your clients. I know the struggles they've had. I know your offers. I know exactly what kind of work you do, what your goals are, because we spend so much time in conversation together. And I'm in all of this, right, thinking about how you might choose a coach in general, because there are plenty of business coaches out there that you could choose from. And I've heard this from several people who've gone through my programs and worked with me one-on-one, is that I am uniquely positioned to help you because I've been in your shoes. I've been the academic who desperately needed to get out, but had no idea what else they were going to do, who never dreamed they were going to start a business, who never thought they could start a business. I had plenty of self-doubt. But I've been there and I've made that transition myself. And I'm now the person who's running a multi-six-figure course and coaching business, working just 25 to 30 hours a week and taking real vacations with my family. And I've been on both sides of that coin. And so I am uniquely suited to speak to you in an academic way, to translate all of that business knowledge, all of the marketing strategies into a way that into a language or into an approach that makes sense for people who have academic brains. And I don't say that as a negative thing. Some people might think professor, right? The absent-minded professor. I remember hearing that all the time and just kind of rolling my eyes. We think differently. We approach the world differently. We have unique challenges. And so I'm able to bring both of those perspectives and both of those identities to my work with my clients. Even though I've been out of academia since 2019, I still think like an academic. That is never going to go away. I teach like an academic. I've had so many people come to my workshops and webinars and sit in on my sessions and comment on how the information is presented clearly. And I absolutely credit my years teaching at the college level for giving me those skills. And so when you join BAE, when we work together one-on-one, I am able to translate all of that business and marketing jargon that you hear out in the world into an academic language, so you understand what the heck you're supposed to do next. And I talk a lot in BAE and with my one-on-one clients about how, as business owners, we have to think like scientists. We have to experiment and we have to test different strategies and different messaging angles. And we have to collect data. And we can't let our beliefs about the world, our beliefs about how much people can afford to work with a coach. I hear that all the time. Grad students can't afford to work with a coach. That's BS. It's not true. There's plenty of grad students out there who hire coaches. I've had grad students pay me thousands of dollars to edit their dissertation. So we have to work with somebody who remembers that we are scientists and that we have to think like scientists even when we're running our business. And we have to test and we have to experiment and we have to let the data guide us instead of letting our assumptions guide us. We have to question our assumptions like good academics. And so I've been told, again, by many BAE program members and clients that this makes a huge difference in helping them understand how to move forward and how to not be so terrified to take action. Because I think when you think about this as a science experiment, it takes a lot of the personal and the self-doubt out of it. We just have to collect the data and analyze it and figure out how to move forward. So to bring this back to where we started with this story of my fabulous client, she came to me with a retirement date on the horizon, with an existing network and a real sense of urgency and an idea about how she wanted to move forward. She didn't want to wait. She wanted to build something quickly while she still had that proximity to colleagues and while she still had the momentum that comes with a major life transition like this. 2 weeks after she launched her website and her business, she had her first 2 high-ticket clients. And there are more on the horizon. I guarantee you more of them are coming down the pipeline. If anything I said in this episode sounds like you, if you are nodding along, if you're thinking, God, I wish I was her. I wish I were her. I wish I was building this business. I wish I were free of academia, being able to live the life that I've always wanted. I want to hear from you, okay? I want you to reach out to me. I don't have a sign up for one-on-one coaching. I don't have a landing page. This is very informal. If you've heard what I've talked about today about the benefits of one-on-one coaching, send me an email at paulina@acadiaediting.com. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me where you are in your transition. Tell me what you're wanting to build. Tell me what's been holding you back. And if it sounds like one-on-one coaching might be a good fit for you, I will send you a link to schedule a free call on Zoom just to talk it through. There is no hard pitch waiting for you on the other end of that conversation. I don't push people into working with me. If you are not excited to work with me, then you need to think about it some more. I genuinely want to help you figure out what is the right path for you. If that's one-on-one coaching, great. If you want to join our BAE cohort in September, great. We already have people who have enrolled, several of them. And again, to figure that out, just to see what you think about me, to see what you think about BAE, to see what you think about starting a business, go to acadiaediting.com/live and get the Zoom link for our workshop that's coming up July 13th through 15th. Either way, whatever it is, whatever you're thinking, wherever you are, reach out and start the conversation and let's see where it goes. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. If this episode was useful, please share it with somebody who might be at this exact crossroads, somebody who has been struggling in academia, who's thinking about building a business, but isn't sure what kind of support they need. And I will see you next week.
If you're unhappy in academia and you think you might be a good editor or writing coach, check out my course, Becoming an Academic Editor. This digital course is paired with a 12-week group coaching program to support you through your decision to leave academia or not, and to start building a profitable and rewarding academic editing business. Learn more by going to acadiaediting.com/become an editor. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time.